G'day guys, Dave Geary.
Hello everyone, Daniel Hastings here, and welcome to our November 2023 Illawarra property video blog. And David, just to start off with, you've got some information regarding particularly the Wollongong market and how that's gone in the last 12 months in particular with its growth.
Sure, and we're talking about median pricing here as well, everyone. So and this is basically housing units, everything. So we all know that in 2021 and going into 22 we had a lot of increases. We've had a slight decrease since 22 to now.
Since pretty much May 22 when the interest rates began, yeah?
Correct. So we're at 13.8% negative.
Yep.
All right. The positive thing is that if you bought in 21, if you look at the stats, the figures are pretty well still even, so that's okay. There's been a lot less housing sold, but there's only been 50 houses sold in that term. So it's got a change in the market where you look at those stats, and normally you would have 100 houses, for example. Yeah. So the stat completely changes.
Definitely
really
a contraction.
Does. 100%.
And I mean, I guess that's sellers thinking or acknowledging that the market's not as strong as it was, I suppose, and there's less going on the market, I suppose.
Correct. And they're basically as well, there are people saying themselves, well, I bought probably in 21, by the time I pay stamp duty, legals and reselling, there's not a lot in it, so they're hanging on to their homes.
Yep.
Hence less houses for sale.
Yes.
But the positive is, Dan, that the responses on our recent marketing has been excellent.
Yeah, like I said before, I mean, it was from May 2022 when the interest rates began. There was a correction. I reckon most of that drop has probably happened in the first 2 or 3 months from May. So what was that? May to roughly August, September.
Yeah.
It was a dramatic, quick correction, but the rest of it has largely stayed the same.
Especially housing,
especially with houses, absolutely.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, the upside, the glass half full is we've seen a very resilient market because there's been numerous interest rate rises in that time, and it says a lot about the Illawarra market overall.
It does.
So let's say 10 out of the 13 odd interest rate rises, we've seen minimal to no change.
So you see people put their houses on the market, they're getting lots of inspections, aren't they? And
certainly currently, we've had some new listings coming on in the last couple of weeks or so, and very healthy numbers going through. I guess it's balanced out. Like you say, there's less listings coming on the market. That balances out with the lesser demand that's there as well. So overall, we haven't seen a dramatic or torturous sort of situation there.
So we're finding days on market, guys, is actually with housing somewhere around that 40 days as an average.
30, 40 days.
But you get some properties obviously selling a lot quicker and some a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it averages around that 40. Apartments are a little different.
Yeah, I think apartments suffering a little bit more. I think if you're looking at selling a property at the moment, it would be remiss of us not to say that you've got to be more competitive. You've got to make sure your marketing's good. You've got to make sure your presentation's as good as possible too.
Correct.
So any of those things that you can control, realising some of those properties might be leased, so you can't control everything about presentation. But you've got to make sure you're on point with all those things to lessen any impacts.
And with that days on market apartments, it'd be around 60 days.
It'd be longer, generally speaking.
60 days, somewhere in that vicinity. So, but the good thing is that units are still selling. They are.
They're just still turning over. Yep.
Just taking it a lot more longer.
That's right. And there's more of them on the market.
Yep.
Some of that might be too that some investors have probably felt the pinch with these interest rate rises, and they've opted to try and offload those properties. So I think that's why we've seen maybe a little bit more supply versus demand in relation to the unit market.
So forecast in the market, we know that we're expecting another interest rate hike.
Yep. There should hopefully it's only one more or so. Maybe it's
indications of one more.
Yeah. So I guess we're not far from the December meeting. The next meeting they have is February. They don't have one in January normally. So I've heard some predictions that maybe they'll skip December, see how they go, and monitor things for February. But hey, that's crystal ball stuff. We just got to see what happens there. And
personally, if that's just the rate go up, I don't think the market will change much what it is now.
Based on what we've seen, like I said, for numerous interest rate rises, I think it'll be more of the same, generally speaking.
I agree.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. And look, if that's the case, I think it shapes 2024 to be a real solid up the foundations of the market overall. Especially if we don't. I don't expect we'll see a downfall. I think we'll maintain, and hopefully we'll start to see a little bit of a kick up, but at least solidify things overall.
And if that's the case, it's time to buy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely time to buy. Yeah. So if you're in a position financially that you can buy some real estate, now's the time.
Definitely worth considering, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for your time. We'll see you next time.
See you then.